Hello, in this video we will describe how to test BFD or bidirectional forwarding on Spirent TestCenter. So to test BFD, the first thing that you need to do, of course, is go ahead and load up your Spirent TestCenter GUI and click on the technology selector and select all of the appropriate technologies, including BFD, that you might want to test. So you can test BFD over control plane or session independent. So if you are planning on testing BFD over MPLS or over a core routing protocol such as OSPF or BGP, then go ahead and check those as well. In this video we won't cover how to actually set up those protocols, but I will show you how to actually turn on session dependent timing and binding to those particular protocols. Okay, so when you do that, what you're going to want to do is on your devices that you want to be the BFD routers, you're going to want to click on the BFD tab. And what this will do is this will allow you to add a new BFD session. So before you do that, you can set up some BFD options. So the first thing that you can set is the BFD CV channel type. This is for the VCCV channel binding, and this will allow you to set whether or not you're doing diagnostics codes or loopback codes and so forth. Okay, so when you go ahead and add a session, you're going to go ahead and add a BFD session, and the first thing that you're going to want to do is be able to activate or deactivate this. Of course, you can do this in real time. The next thing is you're going to want to set up the scale mode for that particular BFD session. So let's talk about the three different scale modes. So normal mode is full BFD with full statistics and full real-time control plane events, and that will allow you to do full emulation of the BFD stack, and that will scale to a few hundred sessions. If you want to be able to scale to lots more sessions, then what you're going to want to do is use the GenTX mode, and there's two sub modes. There's with results and without results. So the difference is that GenTX with no results is a load generator only, which means no sessions are actually measured, but it will allow you to load up to large numbers of sessions. And GenTX with results allows you to select one of those sessions and tag them as a measured session. So in this particular case, we have GenTX with no results, and I have one tagged here with results. Session up or down are real-time metrics of what's actually happening with the session. The next thing is the time interval. So here you can use milliseconds or microseconds. So if you want to do 3.33 milliseconds, then you set the time interval to microseconds, type in 333 microseconds. And this will allow you to control both the transmit interval and the receive interval. You can also set the echo receive interval as well, which is of course part of BFD. Next, you select the detect multiplier. This is the number of times that a session has to fail in order for the whole session to time out. And also you can set the router mode to passive or active. Active means that it'll actively poll. Passive means that it will respond to requests. In addition, I can set up authentication if I want to authenticate my BFD packets. I can do simple and MD5 authentication as well, and I would configure that. And then I can tag this session as a protocol dependent session, and what we will do, and then of course we'll give you protocol independent session counts for both v4 and v6. So with the protocol dependent sessions, we will control one, or we will have per device, we will have one BFD session that I can have multiple routing protocols like BGP, OSPF v2, MPLS tied to that particular device. So we're not going to have three different BFD sessions for three different control plane protocols. We have one, just like a real router would. And when that BFD session goes down, then that will then, and if that is tied to a control plane session like BGP or OSPF v2, then of course those sessions will be torn down as well based on BFD events. So to turn on the protocol binding, you basically, on the device, in this case for example device number 1, I would turn on protocol dependent session, I would check that, and then I would come over to my device And in this particular case, I've got OSPF v2, and if I scroll over, then you will see a BFD checkbox. Here we go, enable BFD. So now this stack on device 1 is now tied to this BFD session. So BFD will then potentially control the state of that adjacency or peer. The other thing I can do is if I turn off protocol dependent session, then that becomes a independent session, and I can set those up as well. So this would be for like your layer 2 type of BFD type of scenarios. So here when I add a session, then I can tell it onto which device. I can select, of course, which devices I want to add them here. I can select the session name. I can activate it. I can say the total number of sessions, and then I could say the start count. And these combined will allow you to, and then of course with increment, it'll allow you to fan out to the number of destination routers for BGP or BFD sessions. The other thing too is if I want to enable my own discriminator, where I type in my own discriminator as opposed to randomly picking a discriminator, I can do that as well here. And this will allow me to duplicate this and so forth. So I can set my start discriminator and my increment as well. And I can do this for both, of course, v4 and for v6. No problem. We fully support IPv6 for BFD on all cases. Okay. So at this point, I just apply. And now when I start my control plane protocols here, I've got a few real-time events. Now, for the full state machine of being able to manage all of these real-time events, the BFD session needs to be in normal mode. In this particular case, it's GenTX with results. So here I can delete the BFD, start and stop the BFD, resume, stop and resume PDUs. So stop and resume PDUs would be like a BFD router that just stops responding to any session. It allows you to simulate that scenario. Admin up and admin down allows you to do inline protocol advertisements of states. I can also enable and disable demand mode, and I can start a polling session from the remote BFD router. And I can also set the diagnostic state, and that allows me to set that. So I can perform those real-time actions. If I wanted to come down and look at results, I can come over here. And if I look at BFD results, then I can look at BFD sessions. So this will show me whether sessions are up or down. I can also look at TX and RX packets. I can also see timeouts and flaps detected by session. And of course, if I come down here, then I can come down to my v4 or v6 session. And this allows me to get more information about the session. So this is my source and destination, BFD state, discriminator, diagnostic codes, control codes, receive counts, desired interval, receive interval, rates, flaps, and average packets, minimum packet rates, maximum packet rates by session. Of course, to get all of these statistics, you need to be in normal mode, not GenTX mode. So the GenTX mode with results gives you some results, but not as many as normal mode. So it's a trade-off between scale and diagnostic capabilities. So this is how you test BFD inside of Spirent TestCenter. Thank you.